For 3 days, Anthropic had the most powerful AI on the planet. Then, the United States government made it disappear. Not restricted in China, not limited to enterprise. Switched off for everyone on Earth, including Anthropic's own employees. It was the first time Washington had ever forced a commercial AI model offline. 18 days later, it came back. But how it came back, and the precedent it just set, should have every founder, every builder, and every AI company paying very close attention. This is the full story. It starts on June 9th. Anthropic launches Claude Fable 5 and Mythos 5, the two most capable models it had ever shipped, free to every pro, max, and enterprise user. The AI world goes wild. But here's the twist: almost nobody caught. Just one day after launch, Anthropic's CEO, Dario Amodei, published a policy essay. In it, he argued the US government should have the legal authority to block or reverse frontier AI models that fail independent safety testing. He was publicly asking for oversight. 2 days later, the government used that exact authority against his own company. June 12th, 3 days after launch, the letter arrives. An export control directive from the Commerce Department citing national security. And the scope was breathtaking. It suspended all access to both models by any foreign national, anywhere on earth, inside or outside the United States, including Anthropic's own foreign national employees. Anthropic said it had no choice. Late on a Friday afternoon, it complied. Fable 5 and Mythos 5 went dark everywhere. Claude.ai, the API, AWS Bedrock, gone globally with no warning. Now think about who was caught in the middle. These models had been live for 72 hours. Businesses were mid integration. Paying subscribers had upgraded specifically to use them. And overnight, the product simply vanished. Anthropic started issuing refunds. Prorated credits for anyone who had paid between June 9th and June 14th, with the window closing June 20th. The press had a name for it: the model that lasted 3 days. And for enterprises, it was a wake up call. Vendor concentration wasn't a theoretical risk anymore. It had just happened, live. So, what was the actual threat? Here's what reporting uncovered. Researchers had found a jailbreak, a way around the model's guardrails. The claim? You could get a Mythos class model to hand over restricted information about cyber attacks. But look at how. The trigger was asking the model to read a code base and fix its software flaws. A routine code analysis task that security defenders rely on every single day. That was the capability that set off a national security firestorm. A tool defenders use to patch vulnerabilities, reframed as a weapon. But who actually pulled the alarm? This is the part that stings. According to reporting, the concerns came from Amazon. Amazon researchers ran the prompts that surfaced the jailbreak. And Amazon's CEO, Andy Jassy, took those concerns straight to senior officials in the Trump administration. Sit with that. Amazon is one of Anthropic's largest backers. And Fable and Mythos were running on Amazon's own cloud, Bedrock. Politico reported the government had actually asked Amazon to review the new Anthropic model. Amazon's line? It's not uncommon for governments to seek our counsel on security risks. A partner's warning helped take the product offline. Then there's the China angle, the part that turned a jailbreak into a national security event. Semaphore reported that unnamed sources believed a Chinese linked group had already used the very jailbreak Amazon discovered. The fear that a foreign adversary could probe the model, then reverse engineer or distill its capabilities into their own systems. That's the logic behind an export control. But here's the catch: Anthropic disputes it. The company says the White House never even raised Chinese access to Mythos in their conversations. Two very different stories about the same 3 days. And Anthropic did not stay quiet. Its position was blunt. The jailbreaks that had actually been disclosed were either entirely benign or minor findings that gave no real uplift specific to Mythos. And then the argument that cut deepest. The exact same jailbreak, they said, could pull similar capabilities out of other public models, including OpenAI's GPT 5.5 models facing no export controls at all. So, if this was truly about national security, why was only Anthropic's model switched off? That question hung over everything that followed. Quick pause. If you're getting value from this breakdown, 90% of people watching haven't subscribed. Hit that button, it's free. And it tells me to keep making these. Okay, back to it. Because the ending is the part that matters most. This is where the industry split in two. OpenAI's Sam Altman weighed in. Extensive safety testing, he said, quote, is not a bad idea. I just don't like the idea of the government picking the customers. And OpenAI played the game, reportedly delaying the full public launch of GPT 5.6 at the government's request, releasing it first to a small group of vetted partners. Pragmatism. Amodei took the other road, principle, and a public fight. Two of the most powerful labs on Earth, making two opposite bets on how to survive under Washington's new grip. So, how did the models come back? 18 days of negotiation. The first crack came June 28. The government partially reversed course, letting trusted US organizations back onto Mythos 5. Then, June 30th, the full lift. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said Anthropic had agreed to proactively detect and address security risks and to work with the government on protocols and standards. Anthropic confirmed it on X, 4.8 million views. Access restored the very next day. The models were back. But the terms had quietly changed everything. And that is the real story here. Forget any single model for a moment. What Washington just proved is this: it can take a deployed commercial AI product, one that people are paying for, that businesses are building on, and switch it off in 72 hours. Then decide the exact conditions under which it is allowed back. Think about what that means. There is now a working kill switch on frontier AI, and access is discretionary. The government can choose which trusted companies get in and which don't. Dario Amodei asked for the authority to reverse unsafe models. What the industry got instead was a precedent, one that can now be pointed at anyone. This was never really about Fable 5. It's about who actually controls the most powerful technology being built. So, what do you do with this? If you build on AI, model access is no longer just a technical decision, it's a geopolitical one. Never hardwire your product to a single model. Keep a second provider tested and ready to go. And watch policy as closely as you watch releases, because the next directive could land with 3 days' notice. If you want to actually master these tools while everyone else is just reacting to headlines, I've put together 3 guides: the beginner's guide to Claude Code and Codex, the Claude guide for sales, and the Claude certified architect prep kit. Links are in the description. Subscribe for the real story behind the AI headlines, and I'll see you in the next one.